you've been traveling for a long time. Across the land, you have faced off against many powerful knights on the way to save your lost love. At last, you are faced with the final challenge, the Tower of Fate. As you ascend this perilous tower, you recognize efforts that the other knights had used to hinder your progress. Nearing the end of the climb, you finally grab the last checkpoint and fall down onto a dinner plate. Oh ho, now this is the premise behind Shovel Knight's Boss Rush. Pass the salt indeed, poor knight. I'm Puggleboy, and I bring you game design, boss rushes. Shovel Knight is one of my favorite games of all time, and a lead factor in that assessment are the boss fights. Each boss in the game perfectly fits the theme of both their levels and the whole game, and every fight is crafted to be a great finish to the level they are found in. When I found out how sadly short the Propeller Knight fight is, I really wanted a way to play it again. That's when I found out about the mandatory boss rush. All 8 of the main bosses are fought in a row, and no deaths are tolerated. This may sound like a pain, but was actually one of the most fun parts of the whole game, and is very well designed for a couple of reasons. The first major thing about this boss rush is the order these bosses are fought in. The sequence of foes is mostly random with some limitation. For example, the Polar Knight boss is always fought in the first half of the encounter. The reason for this is because the Polar Knight fight features an attack where Polar Knight digs up the snow under him to reveal spikes, which insta-kill you in this game. Thanks to this rule, you won't have to beat almost all of the other bosses, only to die at the last part from an insta-kill and have to restart everything. This adds a sense of fairness. Next up is the length of the rush. Normally, fighting every single boss would seem like a long endeavor, but by this point in the game you already know how the bosses work and the difficulty of finding patterns is gone. Now the entire battle should only take 7 or 8 minutes. This is also combined by the fact that you get a 100% heal between every fight, making it harder to die and add length to the fight. The last thing about this rush is its continuity with the original fights. This game's rush features rush bosses that have some continuity errors, but those actually make the fight easier. In the normal battle against Plague Knight, the floor is made of breakable blocks that Plague Knight will destroy with his bombs. This is not so for the rush, which is on flat, plain ground. Also, Propeller Knight's normal stage has 2 gaps at either side that are gone, and Propeller Knight can no longer use his stage-breaking cannonball attack. It seems so far that I am only talking about the good side of boss rushes, but there is a bad side as well. Let me introduce you to another game that I love, Hollow Knight. This game is beautiful and amazing, but the boss rush mode included in the Godmaster DLC has some serious issues for me. The first problem is the order of the bosses. Previously, we had a random order with some limitations, but in Hollow Knight, the boss rush is always in the exact same order. This might not sound so bad, but if you wanted to practice a hard boss in the context of the boss rush, you might die to the medium bosses before it and never get there. The next issue is the length. In the last rush, there were only 8 bosses that were all pretty easy, and you even got a full heal in between them. The problem with Hollow Knight is that the game contains just about 50 total bosses, and you only get a heal every 10 fights. Granted, you can heal manually, but there mostly isn't enough time to do so. Overall, even the fastest speedruns go for about 30 minutes. The last thing here is the continuity. Not only do you have to fight all of the normal and secret bosses from the base game, you also have to fight the 3 bosses only found in the boss rush. These bosses are also rather difficult, as I can't even beat the first one. As well as that, several of the bosses are now harder variants, and pretty much all of them are fought in special new arenas. You thought you knew the bosses, but now you have to learn them all again. Thank you for listening to me rant about video games. I hope you learned something about designing a boss rush that appeals to players. If you want to see more game design videos, then leave a like. Also consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. If you're interested, yes, Odermon will contain an optional boss rush, and I will definitely be thinking of these examples when I make it. This was Puggleboy. Goodbye.